Well, if you came here for some nice, wholesome music, you're not getting that today. Because the three CDs that I'm showing off today are some pretty filthy ass death metal, brutal death metal, slamming brutal death metal that encompasses everything I'm about to show you. So, three releases that came out last year. I got them in the mail sometime in December, right before New Year's. So, I've been holding on to them for several weeks and listening to them before I wanted to talk about them. Two were blind buys. I didn't hear anything about them, didn't hear anything, nothing before I bought them. One I had already heard. So let's get started. The first one is the new Fulci, the More Sound session. So this was out on Maggot Stomp. It came out in November, so it was pretty much towards the end of the year. And basically, what this is Fulci came to Tampa, Florida, and they recorded a live session at More Sound Studios, which the iconic More Sound, you know who that is, right? Like, you know what that studio is. And it's essentially a compilation of all of their albums with live sessions. So it comes on like this CD jewel case, like the slim CD jewel case, similar like to what you would buy back in the day for singles. And I really like that they did that. So it also came on, I think it came on tape. Did it come on vinyl? I don't remember. But yeah, so Fulci is the band from Italy, as everybody knows. They have three other albums out. Tropical Sun is admittedly my favorite album from the band, but they're pretty iconic in the underground death metal scene. A lot of people really have a strong cult following behind them. People just absolutely love these guys, and I'm definitely one of those people. So I was excited to see that this was some new stuff coming out. I mean, new old stuff coming out. And overall, first impressions when I first heard it, because the digital came out before the actual physical release was dropped, I really liked it. I thought it sounded good, and I've listened to this several times since I've gotten it, and it is a very, very good sounding live session. Like, you almost don't even realize it's live, just because it's coming from a recording studio. It's not like a live concert. So it sounds really, really good. I almost prefer some of these songs over the original recordings from on their other album, especially Tomb was one of those songs. But yeah, like I said, it's that CD single slim case jewel case, and it does have a bit of a J card. So here's that Florida alligator background there, and then the other side is the songs that they recorded, and then just a little bit of some liner notes of where they went and thanking some people there. So it was recorded Tampa, Florida, September 5th, 2022. So this was about a year before they recorded this, before they released it. Jim Morris was the one that recorded and engineered it, obviously. And yeah, so I thought this was pretty cool. A nice little like full-length compilation here on this slim case, jewel case. I love these things. Very nostalgic for me. I used to have so many CD singles back in the day. This was the way, a lot of people bought them like this. A single would drop, they would drop it like this, and you would buy it before you'd get the full album. And I used to have so many of these. So when I saw that they were pressing it like this, I thought that was pretty cool. So shout out to Maggot Stomp for bringing back the nostalgia here. I know other labels do this too, but yeah. So this is pretty cool. It's still available. If you're a Fulci fan, this is definitely one of those things you should definitely have in your collection. It's definitely worth the cost. And I think there's also a tape version. There also was a special t-shirt and like sticker pack that came with this. I almost bought everything just because it's Tampa. That's where I live. And I liked the whole alligator aesthetic and all that other stuff. But I chose to just get the CD for now. But all the other stuff is still available. So maybe someday I'll drop some more money towards Maggot Stomp once again. So yeah, check this out. It's awesome. I'm glad that I got this. This is probably one of my favorite releases to come out last year. I just didn't really realize that until I fully listened to it a lot more after getting it in December. So, okay. So the next two CDs are blind buys. And I've got, they just are brain melting. And so here's a little bit of disclaimer. Marty, Alan, maybe even Simon, if you're and definitely Ben, if you're watching this video, you're not gonna like these bands, I don't think. So I wouldn't even attempt it. I just don't know if it's right up your alley. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Simon, maybe, but we'll see. So the first one is NecroticGoreBeast, Repugnant. So this came out on Comatose Music. It's their third full length, and they're from Canada. I think they're from Quebec, to be exact. This was a blind buy. So Comatose, I bought a lot from them last year. They're most notably known for having Stabbing on their label, which is just an awesome band. But I also did Depraved Murder and Horror Bethlehem. They were on my top 50 death metal last year. So this was a blind buy. I threw it in a package with the CDs that I bought with Depraved Murder and Horror Bethlehem. I saw some people tweeting about it, and I also saw it trending on Bandcamp and just saw the announcement that Comatose sent for this album. Didn't even hear it, just bought it because I, pretty much almost everything I've heard from Comatose I've really, really enjoyed. So this album is Jesus Christ. I first of all was not expecting it to be as just like brain shattering, and not in the brain shattering sense of like Nithing that I've talked about earlier on here, or Neurectomy. This is just like some of the chunkiest, disgusting, like full sounding, like makes your brain explode with just how chunky and heavy sounding these guitars and bass and drum are together. Like, it is the most brutal sound that I've heard in a long time, and there is definitely that slamming brutal death metal element to it, so there's definitely that slam sound into here. The production is just pristine. It reminds me a bit of Obscene Majesty by Devourment with that regard, that just production is so clean and so good and just so pronounced. It's not like dirty in a sense of like raw sounding like an old school 90s death metal album. It is very like, we are fucking here to completely collapse your skull. Like, that is essentially what this music is. There are some features on here. Matt from Cryptopsy guest stars on Consensual Castration. And that's probably my favorite song. I just love his addition of the lyrics in here, because the lyrics on this are different. They're not your standard brutal death metal vocals. They're very like, almost just sounds like he's just making random noises and not so much speaking any sort of lyrics, if that makes any sense. It's a very interesting lyrical take. I've never heard this band before. I haven't heard their other albums. They have 2 other albums out. So I was pretty taken aback by the vocal style. It took me a little bit to get used to. After listening to this several times, I got used to it. It made sense with the music. This was pretty much their niche that they had for this band. And I got into it. Is it something that I listen to every day? Absolutely not. Like, this is just, it's a lot. It sonically rapes your ears. It is a lot. But it is definitely an interesting take on this brutal, like slammy brutal death metal sound. And I did enjoy it. So I'm glad that I bought this. And essentially, that's pretty much the overall consensus I saw. I went back on Twitter and I checked out a couple of people that posted this. Same exact thing. They were just like, wow, this is great, but also, wow, this is just insane at the same time. That's essentially what it made me feel like. So there's the front. There's the back. This is still available too. You can get this. Comatose is cheap, man. They sell their CDs cheap. They don't charge you shipping. FYI. And you can bundle CDs for super cheap. So just let you know, if you're looking for some more death metal CDs to add into your collection, the best place to buy them from. I got all the Defeated Sanity CDs and everything the last couple of months. So CD is just their logo on the back. I mean, this is essentially this face melting painting on the cover is essentially what you're listening to. There is a little bit of a glorification in the beginning of serial killers. Like the first track, there's like a clips, but for the most part, I don't think that's the whole theme throughout the whole entire album. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's definitely very present on death metal, obviously, but when it's like the whole entire album, kind of just like, all right, enough of this. But I don't think, I mean, it's just stupid, gory death metal. I mean, self-inflicted cerebral edema, consensual castration, unsedated face removal, that sounds awful, gouged eye, copulation, masturbated to death. I mean, this is just your standard disgusting, brutal, slamming, brutal death metal right here. So that essentially is what you're getting when you're listening to this. And again, I blind buy, didn't even hear it, just bought it because I saw people talking about it. And no, I'm not disappointed by any means, but my God, I was not expecting it to be this filthy and disgusting. But this band, whew, do they have a tone on their sound that is just really, really good. And just in your face, fast, disgusting, the chunkiest guitars and bass I've ever heard, I swear to God. Very, very good album in that regard. So definitely, if you're in the mood for that kind of music, if you're looking for something that's not boring in the slightest, in the slightest, if you're into that slam, brutal death metal sound, you'll definitely really enjoy this. If you're not into that, I wouldn't even attempt it. Wouldn't even attempt it. Don't even go to the Bandcamp link and listen to it. But because you probably won't like it. But also go listen to it and get them some more clicks and exposure too. So that's NecroticGoreBeast, Repugnant. This will be in the link will be in the description. I am done posting song clips after I talk about music on here. I keep getting copyright claims, which sucks because I'm trying to promote this shit, but I'm tired of dealing with it. So if I do a review and I'm able to put a small clip in there from somebody who I know is not going to be all up in arms about it, then I'll do it like Holder I did. Like I know 20 Bucks Spin knows who I am, so they're not gonna get on my case for posting a 9-second clip. But I just don't feel like doing that dance. I wish that was not a thing. I wish people would understand that I'm just trying to promote music here. But it is what it is. It's just the YouTube game that we got to play here. So that was that. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is another band that was a blind buy, kinda. I actually had the digital release of this because this label put their whole entire discography for sale for like $1 last year, like in the beginning of the year, and I just did it and then never really went and listened to anything else after that. It's just one of those things where I was like, hey, I'll do it. Yeah, it's $1, and then I'll go back and listen to these things when I'm looking for some new music. Well, this was one of them because I saw people talking about it on Twitter, and I ended up getting it. So Molested Divinity with the Primordial. So this is on New Standard Elite, the same label that put out Nithing, which I fucking love that album. Jesus Christ. So I took the word for it of the people that were tweeting about this and saw it trending on Bandcamp. This was trending on Bandcamp for a long time as one of the top death metal releases. So I just bought it because I really liked Nithing, and it was the same label that put this out. And I realized I had this digital download in my Bandcamp already because I bought the whole discography. So I definitely really enjoy this. This is your standard meat and potatoes brutal death metal sound. They're not really reinventing the wheel here, but they do it really, really well. This band is from Turkey, so they're Turkish, and it's their third full length. I've never heard them before, but yeah, this is just really a solid album, and I understand why people really enjoyed it. It's fun to listen to. It's just that brutal death metal sound that I've been listening to towards the end of the year, got really into, and I am glad that I got this. It was a really good blind buy. I'm gonna go check out their other albums too. I've been reading some reviews online. I went back to the Twitter tweets that I saw, and just all the general consensus of this is a very good, fast-paced, in-your-face, aggressive, brutal death metal. Definitely the kind of the piggier squeal, grunt sounds of your traditional, brutal death metal sound. Definitely that modern sound for sure, but done really well. And I really like it. What does that say? I'm assuming that's probably stands for Turkish death metal right there. Usually I see that, I think of Texas death metal, but there's an R at the bottom. So anyway, that's the band right there. I didn't recognize any of the names. I looked to see if there were any other bands I recognized. I didn't recognize any of those. So, but if you're looking for a new brutal death metal release, a new brutal death metal album, definitely buy this. It's very, very good. This probably would have made my list if I had checked this out a lot sooner. So this is definitely one of those releases that I missed last year. There's the CD itself. Really, really cool artwork here. I really like this. The whole entire aesthetic of this. I'm trying to see who did it. Cover artwork and layout by Addy DeChristianize. Oh, okay. Addy DeChristianize. All right. Don't know who that is. And then here's the back. One fun thing is, I don't know if you can see right here underneath the tray case, it says, "Behind the wormholes, the ancients are calling you." So, yeah, I really like this. Out of the 3 CDs I showed today, this one I probably have been listening to the most. I really, really enjoy this one. It's just been kind of the death metal that I've been into lately, and been buying. The next couple episodes of my collection updates is pretty much just brutal death metal, so just a fair warning there. But yeah, definitely check this out, especially if you're a brutal death metal fan. You probably already know this and are probably already listening to it, so I'm behind here. But again, this was New Standard Elite, Molested Divinity. The Primordial links will be in the description. That is all that I have for you guys on this very brutal Monday. Definitely got the case of the Mondays right now. I'm exhausted. Was up late last night. Watched football all day yesterday. Good games. But check these out. Links will be in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.